There is a truth that almost no one has the courage to tell you. People will look at your success and say, "That was lucky. We'll call it a coincidence." Some will even say that you were born with something special, but they won't see what happens in the universe. The nights you fought your own thoughts, the days when everything seemed uncertain, but still you decided to go on. Reality is simple. Wealth does not respond to desire. She responds to the trained mind. In 23 Proverbs and 7, just as man thinks in his heart, so he is. Before any external change, there is an internal transformation. You were not placed in this world just to survive. There is a greater purpose within you, something that needs to be developed. But here's the point that changes everything. She is attracted to who you become. When you start to think differently, act differently, decide differently, the world around you starts to respond. Jesus said at Matthew 9:29, "Be done according to your faith." Realize this. It's not according to what you got today, it is according to what you believe. And this is exactly where most fail. Without changing, mind want different results, but continue to feed ancient thoughts, and it will never work. Now, let me tell you something that can change completely. Your way of seeing everything. In the Bible, there is the story of David. Before becoming king, he was just a young shepherd, no position, without wealth, without recognition, but inside it, there was a different mentality. When everyone saw Goliaths like a giant, impossible to win, David saw an opportunity. He looked at the size of his faith. While the entire army was paralyzed by fear, David advanced with conviction. This was no luck, that was mindset. That's how it works in your life too. Most people look at difficulties and back off. Whose interprets challenges as Roman steps. 12:2 says, it's not just about effort, it's about internal transformation. If your mind remains trapped in fear, doubt, and no opportunity will be enough. But when your mind is trained to see possibility until the impossible begins to become painful, wealth starts in the invisible. Before appearing in your account, it is born in your mind. And who understands this? Go out front. There is a pattern that repeats itself in all people. They don't think like most, while many ask, "Can I get them?" They ask, "How I make it happen?" It changes everything. How you think defines how you act. And the way you act sets the result you reap. Jude 11:4 is written, "He who watches the wind will never sow. He will never leave the place." Ordinary people live reacting to life. Extraordinary people create their own reality. They train the mind daily. They choose what they consume, choose who they hang out with. Because they understand a powerful thing. Everything that enters the mind shapes destiny. If you feed your mind with doubt, feeds on vision, you create possibilities. And here goes an important point. Wealth is not just money. Its direction is the ability to generate value. And when you start to develop it, money becomes a consequence. Now pay attention to this, because here is the secret that separates those who try of those who really conquer. Discipline, not that discipline motivated by emotion, but the one that continues even when you're not in the mood. Most people want a quick result, but is to go through the process takes time. Galatians 6:7 says, "All that man sow, it will also reap." If you plant doubt, harvests insecurity. Plant action, harvest result. Simple as that. Repetition builds identity that you do every day, defines who you become. View your goals. Repeat positive thoughts. Act even in fear, where it is no longer effort and becomes natural. Now, I want you to understand this once and for all. You don't need more time. You need decision. And who really makes it happen? And that line is called commitment. Faith without works is dead. Believing is not enough. You need to act. Need to do what most avoid. Because that's exactly where the growth is. The truth is that the world tests you all the time. With difficulties, with delays, with frustrations, but those who have a trained mind do not stop. Learn, continuous adjustment, and that's why these people go further. Not because they are better, but because they are more consistent. So now, if the question is no longer whether you can change your life, the question is, you are. Because it all starts in the mind. Act differently. Persist when no one else persists. Be strong and brave. Fear neither. You are frightened. That's the mindset. You weren't created to live small. Build an impact, but it requires attitude. So from today, protect your mind. Do it with purpose. Because when your mind changes, your life accompanies.